Hello and welcome back to Everyday Writers, your one-stop shop for demystifying the writing process. We're here to be helpful guides on your journey to becoming a published author. I'm one of your hosts, Crystal McQueen.
And I'm your other host, Jordan S. Keller. Thank you for joining us on today's episode where Crystal and I are going through our 2025 best reads. Now, Crystal is a prolific reader. I see her with a new book every week, so I'm really excited to see what she's brought today.
I do love to read. And if you've listened to our show, you know I've talked about this first book. My first book is Nikki Ehrlich's The Measure. So it's such an amazing book. It's told from a multi point of view. I think there are like 7 or 8 different points of view, but it's all under this like whole question of if you knew how long, if you had the opportunity to know how long you had left to live, would you look? And so it's following all of these different characters and the choices that they made of whether or not they're going to look at their string because it's a string that tells them how long they have left to
Mhm.
live. And you know how like what decisions that actually drives whether they look or not. And I loved it. I loved the way that the author just like kept you engaged. And I don't know. I think I'm going to pick up every book that she writes now.
Ooh.
I've got another one called Poppy Fields that I haven't read yet, but it's by her, and I only picked it up because it's her.
Would you look at your string?
We had this conversation. It was like I don't know that I could resist looking at it,
Mhm.
but I would be more upset if mine and Bill's strings aren't the same length. That's all. You
Oh,
know?
yeah. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
and you can't destroy them, right? You can't destroy them.
yeah.
It's like some people threw them into like garbage fields and stuff like that. But you can't destroy them, you can't burn them or whatever.
Mhm.
Some people traded them, so like if
Ooh,
if they wouldn't let you join the army if yours was too short, and so somebody with a long string gave them, their strings so that they could join, and of course they
yeah.
died. Uh and so anyway, it was just this whole thing of like, what would you do and the decisions that you would make? And would you look?
100%, 100%. There's an anime I like called Death Note, and one of the characters can like you can get these shimigami eyes where if you look at someone, you can see their clock counting down, but it
Oh,
costs half of your life. So like
oh,
I knew I would get the eyes in that world, so 100%. I couldn't not look.
oh my God. That's a
It's
lot to
great.
give up. So
Oh, it's so good.
what's your book?
Oh, my
Oh,
it's the
sorry.
first. Oh no,
No, that's right. That's right. What's
yeah.
your book?
It's the first book I read this year, and when I was collecting all the books for this, I just couldn't believe like, oh my gosh, this only came out this year, but it's Onyx Storm, book
Yeah.
3 in the Empyrean series. I went to the midnight release for this. I dressed up as a rider. I had leather pants and a sword. And I've talked about this book too. It is such like brain rot. Like it rots my teeth when I read this series. Like it's so bad, but so delicious. Not bad in a bad way, but like as a writer, I can see a few things that like might need beefing up or like a few cliches or like, oh, come on now. But it's like candy to me. I love it. And as a writer, I really, really appreciate Rebecca Yaros, how she world builds. And the start of each chapter, there's either like a piece of history text or like a callback to a different letters that one of the characters wrote or a piece from like their war book textbook. And it just elevates the world without having to like take up so much room on the page where it takes away
Uh,
from the action. So I really love how she world builds.
do you feel like as a writer that it's harder for you to read books like without like
Yes,
kind of analyzing the writing?
yes. Or like I'm so much better now at like calling what's going to happen, and I hate it because I'm less surprised. But I'm eagerly awaiting for book 4 and 5. I can't wait. They're gonna make me miserable. I just know it. I can't wait.
I love that though. Like I love that it's like, oh yeah, no, that was definitely a hint that you put there just because it's
Mhm.
definitely coming back later.
And I enjoyed it so much, but so it's just so like teenage drama with this huge war in the background. It's like now's not the time for that. But it's so juicy. Keep doing it.
So my next book was one
Yeah.
that was recommended to me by Nick Greenberg, who's in our writing group.
And the
Um,
author of The Culinary Caper.
the Culinary Caper, yep.
Culinary Caper.
And
Yep.
so I didn't think I would like it because I'm not super into romance books, but it's
Mhm.
called Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld. And what I love in particular about this is it is a romance book, but it's not the typical romance book that you read.
Hmm.
So the main character is on a late night talk show. She's a writer for it, and it's I think it's called TQL if I'm not, or something like that.
Hmm.
But it's basically SNL. It's basically Saturday Night Live. And she's a writer for it, and she's basically given up on love. Like, she just doesn't have um any kind of desire to meet somebody. She's got this guy that she met on like Tinder or something, and they only hook up. But then a very famous, very attractive guy comes on the show, and
Of
like,
course.
and they're like hooked. And so, it even goes through the pandemic, which, I really wouldn't have
Oh.
liked, but it is so funny. There's so much humor into it. Like, I think that that is why I liked this book so much. I would recommend it to anybody, even if you don't really like romance novels,
Hmm.
because it's just everything that she does or thinks is either like cringy funny or really funny, or, just like, oh, I wish I could be that witty kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so I think that that's what she does really, really well. This Curtis Sittenfeld is that she's just amazing at making very quippy dialogue that just keeps the story moving, and you just desperately want to know what's going to happen next. So it's a good book.
I I I I love the concept of a character written off love and then they're suddenly thrown into it, like just that fish out of water kind of.
Yeah. Well, but it's not immediate, right? Like, so, like, he kind of, asks her out, and she's like, "No, you're not real." And then like 2 years goes by,
Oh my gosh.
and he like sends her a random email, and like they like kind of start things back up. So
Yeah.
it's not like a, what do you call that, like a immediate gratification. Like
Hmm.
there's like a long
That's
period that goes between it.
how
And that's
big's
why
the
it's,
book then, if it's covering all that time?
I mean, it jumps time. It
Oh,
jumps
okay.
time. But, she's going through the pandemic. She's trying to take care of her dad. She's,
Hmm.
moved from her tiny little apartment in New York to somewhere in the in the Midwest. I can't remember where.
Yeah.
She's got nothing to do. She can't see anybody. She's going insane. And then she gets this email from this guy that she totally bombed it with. So anyway, it's a good book.
Yeah.
It really
Oh,
is.
how cool. Ooh. My next book was my most anticipated book of the year, and it's Oathbound by Tracy Deanan. It's the third book of the Legendborn series. It's massive. It's the longest book I think I'll ever read in my life. Um, but it's so cool. It's a secret society of Arthurian legends. It's a young adult paranormal fantasy, if you want to slap the paranormal title on it.
Yeah.
But it is so full of action. There's a love triangle. One of the sides of the triangle is one of my favorite characters. His name's Sel. He's just sassy and grumpy, and I love him. And this book, as a author studying it, has so much great uses of tension. And we talked about it a little bit in our tension episode. But the obstacles that the author Tracy puts in front of these characters is never anything like crazy big. Like there's no like end of the world apocalypse in the book or anything. But it's just all these tiny minor inconveniences that are keeping the characters from reaching their goal. And it's such enough to keep you spinning through all these pages to reach the end. It still took me like 6 months to read it. It's so big. But definitely check out the series. It does not get enough love. There's only going to be four, so the final book hopefully comes out next year. But it's great. It's got a great cast, a good, just all, like I mentioned, the Arthurian legends, which I'm a big fan of. It just gives all of it justice, and the cast is so fun. You feel like you're just sitting there with them eating popcorn, watching them sword fight and cast spells and fight these demons. It's really great.
So when I had my surgery recently, I wasn't able to put any weight on my ankle and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. And I had gotten the most recent Robert Galbraith book, which was, I don't know, 1,100 pages or something.
Oh gosh.
Well, I wasn't able to do
Right.
anything, so I finished it in 2 days. I was like, "How are you
Oh,
done?" I was
like
like,
oh,
"I
I
literally can't do anything but sit here."
I want your magic power to read books like that, even if minus the ankle surgery.
Minus the ankle surgery. Well, maybe it'll make you read faster.
True, true. I'm trying to get like train my brain because I'm so like, all right, I read a chapter. What can I do next? Like, no, you sit with it. Read 2 chapters, 3 chapters. Give yourself this time to read.
Oh, don't put pressure on yourself, because reading is about enjoyment, right?
Yeah,
Like, you got to
yeah.
really love it. Yeah, you think I read fast. There was somebody that I knew in high school. She was my sister's best friend. And she would go through 3 romance novels in a week. In a week. And I'm talking about like the big fat ones, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh
And
my gosh.
so one night we were all sitting around and they were like, I don't really want to do anything. I don't want to see anybody. So we all sat down and read a book. She read two in that evening. And I
Oh
was
my
like halfway
gosh.
through my book going, what the crap? Are you actually reading? Like,
We're just like flipping pages.
but apparently everybody reads at a different speed and she really
Yeah.
loved it, and the way that she read, it was just the way that she could, she read a book that she read them off of my shelf. Like I asked her questions, not to be like, I don't believe you read it, but just like asked her how she liked it and stuff, and she
Yeah.
knew like all the details.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
don't know, it just everybody reads at different speeds, and
Hmm.
like don't pressure yourself to
No
read
pressure.
faster. The whole joy of book writing, of book reading, is to
Hmm.
enjoy it. It's not to just be like, "Ooh, look how many
It's not
books
a
I read."
race. It's not a numbers game, but
It's not. As much as like all of the apps and technology and social media try to make
hmm
it like, how many books did you read this year? Which I still do the Goodreads challenge every single
yeah.
year.
I'm happy if I can get 12 a year, like once a month, like that makes me happy.
And that's great. That's fantastic. I think Bill has 20 a year.
Okay,
Um,
that maybe I can do that.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like, you can just keep putting stuff in it and be like, look at how like what an overachiever I was this year, you know? Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
so I know that we're talking about like books and stuff like
yeah.
that, but one of the things that is like a big trending thing right now is basically it's a date with a book where, some people do blind dates with a book.
Oh,
But the whole point is you put mood lighting on, you light candles, you put a blanket, if
oh,
you got pets, snuggle with
mhm.
pets. You drink something that you really want to drink out if you're a tea drinker or
Yeah.
whatever. And then you just sit in a really comfortable spot and read. And it's supposed to, like it's supposed to lower your heart rate. It's supposed to be extremely relaxing. No
Mhm.
technology, no blue lights. Like you're supposed to have like soft lighting, lamp light and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, Bill, we should do this.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. And so, next time that you're like, got an evening alone, like maybe we
Mhm.
should just have a date with a
Take
book.
myself out with a book. Yeah.
Yeah. So this
That's
book was recommended
yeah.
to me. It's called The Memory Collectors by Deet. I think it's Miss Meeser, but I'm not positive on actually how to say her name. She's got several books out, but the
Mhm.
reason that I picked this one was actually because when I had my query letter um, edited by an agent, she said, I really like your comps, but I actually think this one is a better one
Oh.
for your book. And so anyway, I went out and I bought it and I read it, and I was like, yeah, you're right. This is a much better comp for my book. And so it's speculative fiction. It's what if you could go back and relive an hour of your past? Would you do it? You don't
Oh.
you don't get to choose the hour. But would you go back in time and relive an hour of your past? I'm sorry, you don't get to choose. You can't change anything. Like you could try to change anything, but it doesn't actually. It's just kind of
Oh,
reliving a
cool.
memory.
Hmm.
And so this book was really, really great because you had a multi-character point of view, which I really love the multi-character point of views. I might have to do that in one of my books. Um,
Yeah.
but it follows four people that go back in time because they had something really bad happen to them, and they really wanted to change it, and so they go back and kind of try to live their life a little bit
Hmm.
before the bad thing happens. And so you kind of realize that there's a lot more underneath, and I love it when an author can kind of weave in all of this stuff that's unexpected and gets revealed through time. So based on everything that they suffered, there's different things. I guess in the very first one, the very first chapter, you learn that the one of the main characters, her son dies. You don't know how he dies. You don't know when he dies.
Ooh.
And so she goes back in time to spend one more hour with her son.
Oh
Um,
my God.
but then they all get stuck. They all get stuck for like I think 4 days in the past,
Mhm.
and so it's them trying to relive it, them trying to fight, against it and actually try to change things, and then them coming to a resolution at the end with how it all comes together. So
Mhm.
anyway, I don't want to give too much about
Yeah.
the book, but it was really, really well done. How it all came together and not in a way that you would expect. So anyway, I would
It,
recommend this book.
I can see how it would be a great comp to Up Pops the Sun. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
Mhm.
was very grateful for her to be like, I get this, but I think you should do this one.
Mhm.
I was like, yes, ma'am, I will.
Whatever you say. My next book for the best 2025 reads was a book that did not come out this year. It's the Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. She also wrote the Caravale series that I'm reading right now. It is so cute. It's fairy tales. It's a romance. It's a badass girl with a sword. And I buddy read it with a friend, and
Ooh, I love it. Oh, I
that
love
forced
doing that.
me, not forced, but like that kept me reading so fast. So maybe that's the answer for me reading more books is someone telling me to read them. But I love the way this author does prose and how she describes details and sensory moments and how like when one of her characters walks into a room, it's never like a grocery list of things they're seeing and experiencing. It's how all these items, yeah, the sights, the smells, the taste, make the character feel and react. And so I'm studying that. I'm using this book as a blueprint for Ghost Kid when I start editing next week.
Oh,
Just to,
that's
yeah, because
exciting.
like to get rid of all those like, and the table had a tablecloth and there was a flower on it, and blah blah blah, and like just really bring those settings to life. So highly recommend this series. It was a super quick read. Book one ends nicely, so if you didn't love it, don't feel forced to read the other ones. But she's great. I'm
Oh,
really enjoying her.
I should probably clarify that none of the books that I picked are actually published this year, I don't think.
Oh, I think I
I
just
just
had
read them this
three. Yeah,
year. Okay. I
it's all
just
good.
wanted to make sure. But speaking of reading with a partner, I just think that that's
Mhm,
the best way to read. So a friend of mine was like, I was told that I had to read this book. It's very, very tiny. It's like 100 pages. It's not one of my
mhm.
recommendations, although I kind of do recommend it. It's called
Oh.
10 Days in a Madhouse, and it's this woman who did um, uh, investigative journalism where she got herself committed to a madhouse. And then, as soon as they committed her, she started acting normally. You know, she was just completely
Mhm.
normal. And the more that she acted normal, the more they're like, you're crazy. Like, there's nothing. And she'd be like, I'd like to go
Oh,
home. Like, I know
wow.
where I am. I know what I'm doing. Like, I should go home. And they were like, no. And so she revealed so many atrocities that were happening and like
Mhm,
published it in I think the New York Times. I can't remember who she wrote for, but a really important newspaper. And it actually changed. It shut that madhouse down, the asylum that was on an island outside of New
mhm,
York. And the city actually contributed $1 million more a year. And this is in like 1887 or something like that, to mental health institutions because of that piece. And
that's so
so
cool.
I kind of do recommend it. But anyway, I read it with a friend and we read it in like, I don't know, 2 days because I was like, did you see what happened in this chapter?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, like at first, okay, I'm sorry. But at first, she was complaining about things and I was like, "Oh gosh, you're so entitled." She's like, you know, I
The
can't
character, not the friend.
no, the character, yeah.
Okay.
The lady, she was like, I can't tell you the impact on civilization that cheap linen has. And I'm like, really? And like she would comment on the lack of carpets and that the
Mhm.
piano was out of tune. But then as the thing continued to go, then you were like, oh no, this is really bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, I do recommend 10 Days in a Madhouse. It's like 130 pages or something like
Mhm.
that. It's a quick read. But I recommend more reading with a friend.
Yes.
Okay. So my next
But
book,
your official next book, yeah.
my official next book is called Wayward. Come on,
Oh, what a
Wayward.
cool cover.
Yes. And it's a gosh, all of her books are feminist tellings. But it's about multiple characters over time, and so it's basically a legacy story. So
Ooh.
um Wayward is their last name, and it's basically the Wayward women, and
Mhm,
how each and every single one of them, their their witchery, right, uh has impacted their story. And what I really love about the journey through time is that this author is telling you more stuff about different character stories based on their discovery. So they discover a letter
oh.
in a chest, and so you learn more about that story without actually being
Mhm,
in it. You've got this one woman who has an abusive spouse, and she's trying to get away, and like just basically trying to figure out like how the each of their stories are going to resolve. So you basically
mhm.
get them all four of them at the beginning, and then the evolution of their story. And I think it's four. The
Oh,
current day
cool.
one, no, it's three. It's three. The current day one, the the one that left her the cabin, and then that one's mom. Although
Mhm.
technically, you get a little bit of the grandmother in one of them, and so it's kind of four. But anyway, it's a really really good legacy story, and I love how this author does a really good job of building setting over time that's applicable to later times.
Ooh.
So it's really cool.
What a
Highly
neat way
recommend.
to frame a story too, like discovering, like just the letter example you gave. What a cool way to frame it.
Yeah, yeah, and you get really mad in the book, of course. But what's your
That's
next one?
I've got two coming up next. They kind of go together. It's Dating Dragons and Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce. They're so cute. They're young adult romance books. It's romance and Dungeons and Dragons, and they're so cutesy. And the secondhand embarrassment you feel from the
Oh,
main character as she's navigating not only like learning Dungeons and Dragons and being in this new nerd environment, but like the developing feelings on the crush, and the will they won't they, because of course there's always going to be this miscommunication and a third of the way through the book. But I was either like cringing or kicking my feet every chapter. How Christy Boyce, the author, wrote the two main characters, it was phenomenal. By the end of the books, I felt like they were my best friend from high school and we were reliving these memories together. But just great characterization and just great emotional stakes, without being like into the world like I'm used to with fantasy novels. And just like, oh my gosh, will they go to prom together was just as impactful as, oh my gosh, will they find the sword and slay the dragon? So just a reminder to read outside your genre, even though I guess Dungeons and Dragons romance is kind of close to mine.
no, I mean it's great. I like. Did you ever? I'm sorry, I was going to show my age. Did you ever watch the movie Never Been Kissed?
No.
Okay. It's got Drew Barrymore in it. It's something I watched
Oh.
when I was in like
Mhm.
middle school, I think. And the secondhand embarrassment, like she's just so awkward, and like this story would never fly today. Like technically she's 26, but the teacher is like in love with her, but also
Mhm.
he thinks she's 16, which is kind of gross. But
Yeah, yeah.
when I was like 12 or 13, I was like, "Oh, it's okay. She's the
It's
right
fine.
age." But the secondhand embarrassment you're talking about, there's just
Mhm.
something so like, "Oh my gosh, please get better," but also I gotta keep watching.
It's like a car crash. You can't look away from it.
Yes, yes. All right, so my last book
Yeah.
is it's a part two. So it's called The Mystery Guest by Nita
Mhm.
Prose. And so it's Molly the maid. So the first one, she's a maid in a hotel. And I love the uniqueness of this. So it is a mystery novel, and the person solving the mystery is this maid. Which, I mean, how many
Mm.
mystery novels do you know that like that's the main character? It's not
Yeah.
a
A detective
detective
or
or a sleuth or a PI or whatever. But also, and I don't want to diagnose her. It doesn't actually expressly say it, but she's like, it seems like she's on the spectrum.
Mhm.
She takes things way too literal. And she has a real hard time lying. She assumes everybody's good. And
Mhm.
so that is what I love the most about this book, and what I would recommend people read it for is the amount of characterization that went into this main character, who is uncomfortably awkward and naive and just so good-hearted, and all she
Mhm.
wants to do is be a good maid. And like it's got a really really sweet tie to her grandmother, who is just like the most protective person to her.
Mhm.
And like the grandmother isn't there anymore, and she's lost. She doesn't have anybody to protect her. And so it's just the characterization in this book is just phenomenal. It's just next level.
Mhm.
And so even if you're not super into mystery novels, I would recommend reading this book, just so you can see how you can take a character and make them awkward and uncomfortable, and maybe even have them have some kind of disability that
Mhm.
isn't the part of the book, but it does influence like their view on the world.
Oh, it just goes back to that, like the importance of good characterization and
Yeah.
making sure your characters aren't flat and making them real people.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, is it a murder mystery? Like, did she find a dead body while she's cleaning a hotel or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody dies
Good, good.
in both books. Especially
Oh,
the second one. So, yeah.
yeah. Well, speaking of death, my final favorite book of 2025. It's also a part two. It's the conclusion to Christian Simmons. Her first book was Find Him Where You Left Him Dead, and then the second book is She Waits for You Beyond the Dark. And it's a Japanese underworld inspired Jumanji turn of events with four best friends. They end up having they lose a friend in this underworld playing this game, and they have to go back in and find them. And it's got a bunch of yokai. It's got great just like cultural references and just exploring different like afterlives that you don't really see in the normal media I'm consuming. And it's all set in Cincinnati. The
Ooh,
yeah, the author's from Cincinnati. I love her. Again,
love
her name
it.
is Kristen Simmons. Please check her out. She's great. And just like hearing all the references of like downtown Cincinnati and the restaurants, and they go to Holtman's Donuts, and like I'm so hungry reading that chapter because like it's great. I love when books really lean into the real world settings, and it's so neat to see the balance between like Holtman's Donuts in Cincinnati and the Japanese underworld full of monsters and yokai and these kids trying to survive school and survive the underworld. So it's a great duology. It's not super scary. Like I'm a scaredy cat, and it was fine, but really really cool.
I swear I know this author.
She wrote Pacifica. I'm looking at my bookshelf right now.
I'm
The
looking on
Deceiver series,
her
Broken
website.
Arrow.
She didn't write like a Fae based in Cincinnati book. It's got a woman on the cover.
Oh no, different one.
Is
Uh,
that somebody else? Okay.
yeah,
But those books are based in Cincinnati,
yeah,
and so and I thought her name was Kristen Simmons, so I guess it's not. But
yeah. At
anyways,
least I think at least unless she's released a book that I haven't heard of.
no. I just
Yeah.
looked at her website. She
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
have that. Yeah. So well, that's all the time that we have for this episode. I really hope that we were able to expand your TBR list. I'm sure that you don't actually need help, but just in case, maybe you found something that sparked your interest and you could go out and check out that author.
Yeah. And join us next time where Crystal, oh my gosh, where Crystal and I are going to be going over our 2026 goals, and stick around and give us what you want to be working on next year as well. And if you love what you hear on Everyday Writers, make sure you subscribe and follow both Crystal and I on Instagram.
And don't forget, every day is a good day to write and
We'll
read.
see you. Yeah.
See you
And we'll
next time.
see you next year.
Bye.
Bye.